Building your blog or your entire website on WordPress is a great option. It offers flexibility, documentation, and a ton of community support. There are thousands of themes and plugins that you can use to create just about any functionality you can think of. But sometimes the vast number of options available can be overwhelming. To cut through some of the clutter, we've put together 5 WordPress blogging tips you can follow to start strong. And now it's time for some more DIY SEO tips with Jennifer Regina. Tip number 1, use a responsive theme. You want your website to be mobile friendly. You don't want to get stuck duplicating content and wasting valuable time. When you're looking for a WordPress theme, make sure it's responsive. Start with a responsive theme from the very beginning. When a theme is responsive, that means the width of the website can readjust to fit on mobile, tablet, or a desktop. Depending on the device size, the elements on your website will be displayed differently. On a desktop, you might have a 4-column layout. On mobile, those columns would be stacked on top of each other vertically instead. On a tablet, they might be displayed as a 2-column layout with 2 rows. This allows for a great user experience regardless of what device people use to access the website. So it's definitely something you want to start out with from the very beginning. Okay, tip number 2 is to use only the plugins you need. Plugins are great. They make it easy to add complex functionality to a WordPress site without knowing how to code. For the most part, they are plug and play. You download one, activate it, configure a few settings to specify your needs, and it's good. There's nothing wrong with using plugins, but you only want to use the plugins you need. The more you use, the more potential issues you'll run into. Normally, plugins are fine, but sometimes they can conflict with each other. Since adding plugins is so easy, it's also easy to have way more than you need. Sometimes when I'm looking for a new plugin, I end up downloading about 5 plugins. I try them all, and then I decide which one is the best and go with it. There's nothing wrong with that, but when you're done, remove what you aren't using. Don't just deactivate it. Completely delete it so it doesn't appear in your list of plugins anymore. If you don't delete it, you will still need to update it and you will still have those files on your server. So if you need the plugin, use it. If you install it, don't like it, or don't need it, get rid of it. Don't let it be a possible vulnerability. The same thing goes with themes. There's no need to keep the default themes if you aren't using them. Tip number 3 is to be cautious with customizations. If you want to change the way a plugin or theme works, try to change it in the available settings first. Don't play with the code unless you have to. If you don't understand code, then just stay out of it. If you want to make the customization directly in the plugin or theme code, it will get overwritten when there's a new update. That means your change will be gone and there's a chance you will break something unexpected. Always look through the available settings first. Most themes will have a dedicated area for you to add custom CSS and JavaScript. Plugins normally offer quite a few customization settings as well. Chances are you'll be able to find a settings interface to control the element you want to manipulate. And if you don't, try a different plugin. Editing the plugin code should be a last resort. Tip number 4 is to download Yoast SEO. You want to start off by adding SEO elements such as meta descriptions to your pages from the very beginning. It will be easiest to optimize your posts for search engines as you create them instead of going back and editing several existing pages when you decide to focus on it. There are a few different SEO plugins worth using. I like to use Yoast SEO. They allow you to specify the target keyword for the page, and then they have a checklist to quickly identify what remaining optimizations need to be added to the post. And tip number 5 is to have a plan for backup and security. Your blog will be a place you end up putting a lot of time and hard work into. You want to make sure you have a backup plan. WordPress normally runs great. I can count on one hand the number of failed updates I've had in the last decade, and none of them ended up needing to be restored from a backup. But still, things happen, and you want to be prepared. I like to use Updraft Plus for backups. It's a plugin, and you can run a backup before you run updates, so you have a fresh copy in case there's an issue. You can also schedule to run backups on a regular basis and save them somewhere else, such as Dropbox or Amazon S3. And then just as important as a backup, You also want to make sure your site is secure. I like using WordPress for this. It's another plugin. It's a great safeguard to have in place so you're getting notified of any suspicious activity on your website. All right, so there you have it. Those are the 5 tips. Just follow those tips and you'll be off to a great start with your WordPress site. Thanks for listening, and if you enjoyed this, please subscribe. This episode was brought to you by ClearPath Online, a DIY SEO tool for your website.